Hey everyone, it's Types, and this past weekend was actually the first weekend that we had post-rotation in-person tournaments for, I guess, like these major tournaments, essentially just the ones that are shown on Limitless here. And well, we have seen the post-rotation metagame for a little while, and in fact, we saw the post-rotation metagame in Japan a while ago. We are taking a look at the results here in these tournaments, which are really interesting, kind of reflecting the state of the current standard format and what people are playing and what people aren't playing as well, and some really interesting meta things. But ultimately, we're taking a look at some deck lists here, as well as tournament results. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on them, as well as just some interesting thoughts here, because I think it's pretty interesting to see. But anyways, let's take a look here. These are the decks, and as I said, there are two tournaments, this Korean League Season 4 tournament and the regional in Prague. We are not looking at seniors and juniors really. They are a little different, and I'm going to spend more time on the regional as it's bigger, but we'll take a look at the, I guess, the decks first. Ultimately, these aren't well, okay. I'd say they're not super surprising with Dragapult, right? It's 35% of the metagame is Dragapult. These again are going to be, I think, like day 2 performances or the top cut. I think it kind of depends on exactly what you're looking at. Like this would be this is top 32. I don't know. Anyways, it's going to show the top performers. So it's not everyone. You're definitely going to see probably a wider variety of decks on like a lower level, but Dragapult's clearly doing well, and there are going to be a handful of different Dragapult builds, which we're going to talk about in this video. But ultimately, it's we're going to be talking about Dragapult here, which is very good, and Dragapult it definitely has some interesting things to it. I've definitely heard people getting sick of it. I think some of it is just it's very good, right? It's a very good deck, but it definitely has a bunch of depth there, and well, the post-rotation format doesn't have as many comeback style cards. Dragapult's definitely a deck where there is, it's not just about taking the first knockout. There's a bunch of different things there. I'm not going to be like completely diving into all the strategy stuff of Dragapult. This isn't like a guide to the deck, but it is the deck I've been playing. Though I've been playing a Frostlass variant. It's a pretty different build. I'm going to make a full video on that at some point. But we see Dragapult, which is a big thing. Then we see the number 2 deck, which is so we see 35% for the top deck. The number 2 deck here, I guess Dragapult. Dragapult is not split to variants. If we split it into variants, see there's Dragapult, like straight Dragapult at 15%. We have 9% with Dragapult Blaziken. We have Dragapult Duststorm. We have Dragapult Dunsparce. And is there another build of Dragapult? I don't know. Probably not. So yeah, it looks like there's those 4 there. But not split up. It's like really far ahead. I think in terms of splitting decks up, no other deck is grouped together. Maybe I'm not sure on that one, but Dragapult definitely is. And I mean, it definitely the different builds play similarly, being built around Dragapult EX and Dracloak, but they're not the same. We have Crustle though at the number 2 spot here, as you saw. It was when the builds of Dragapult were split up, it was still number 2, I guess. But anyways, Crustle with Mysterious Rock in, which is kind of weird. It's like most of the decks. I always like forget that Limitless names the decks like this. So you got the Pokemon that's like the EX. People obviously normally just say Dragapult, not Dragapult EX, and then with like the single prize and stuff, they'll say, looks like they say wait, no, Trial for the Hand's the attack on Alex, but they got the ability on Okidogi as well, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, we see Crustle obviously walling off, and this is a deck I'm not going to spend too much time talking about. I suppose at this point I'll just open up the average list. I will be looking at average lists in this video. Of course, average lists are, averaged, but then they're rounded, so then they might have 60 cards, and they might theoretically be illegal, as in play. Well, they could, not 60 cards is illegal. And then on top of that, also, there's a chance that they have more than 4 of a card. That's pretty rare, but it is technically possible. But anyways, the list runs Crustle, obviously, and then it also runs some run Munkidori, some run. They don't all run Munkidori though. I imagine some running Munkidori are going to be running a few. But then you have Mega Kangaskhan EX and Cosmos Ogerpon EX. I played this deck a couple of times. It's Crustle. Pretty much you all EXs and you hope you win. If you don't win, you lose. I suppose that's how every deck in the game works, but you played with or against this deck, you know what happens. You Crustle and you hope, and you don't make a lot of decisions during the game. You make some decisions, but it's pretty, I made a whole video on Crustle. It's just check that one out if you want more info on it. And I might make another on decks like this in the future. I'm sure at some point I will. So I guess subscribe so you don't miss that. I don't know if that's the best sales pitch. Saying I'm going to talk about Crustle, but it is it's pretty good. You look at the meta game and the top decks. We see that a lot of them are EXs, I guess, but a lot of them have a bunch of. I mean, even the EX decks play a bunch of non-EXs as well. Ultimately, I'm a little surprised Crustle did as well as it did. I think it's because it's a safer, simpler deck is going to be part of it there. But it is definitely, I guess, interesting is the word I'll use to see that being pretty good in the menu. That's honestly part of why I'm making this video, because Crustle is doing pretty well. But yeah, definitely a deck you should kind of know how to play against as well. It's not amazingly hard to play against either. I mean, there can be some intricacies. I'm saying it's like simple and relatively little decision making. Of course, there are decisions, just going to be probably like less than like. I mean, with Drake, you're making a lot of decisions and things like that. And Dragapult EX as well. But anyways, you're also able to like beat Alakazam and stuff like that with the special energies. So you got some stuff there to generally have good matchups. But you do need to set up. I've definitely found the deck to be kind of clunky. Though I think in the games I've played, I've never actually gotten Mega Kangaskhan into play, which is some of you may be wondering like how. But yeah, anyways, Crustle is there. Then we got Team Rockets. Team Rockets is the deck 3 here. This is a bit separate again from Crustle there, which is interesting to see. I've played a little bit of Team Rockets. Team Rockets is pretty cool. I know that you have Spidops here, and then Mewtwo, and Team Rockets Articuno as well. Team Rockets Articuno is pretty nice here. It pretty much auto wins Alakazam, I think. I mean, it technically doesn't, but if they don't play these, I keep trying to say the single prize Alakazam, but the non-ability Alakazam, then they can get through it, but it's very good there. And then Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX is okay attacker, hitting good weaknesses, and then Team Rocket's Spidops is also hitting, I guess, decent weaknesses and can do some decent stuff there. It's pretty, I guess, stable. It accelerates to itself. It's a single prize, it's like relatively tanky, I guess. The basic's not tanky, but again, you do have the Team Rockets Articuno to stop. The Dragapult EX is damage kind of placement there. You also have obviously the strong trainer package with the item card Team Rockets Transceiver. I guess in terms of playing the deck, make sure your Team Rockets Transceiver before you get Badooed. That is important, so you can do that, because you can't do it after you get Badooed. And yeah, that gives you some different supporter options. You have Team Rockets Archer as a good disruptive supporter there. You have Team Rockets Giovanni as a good gusting supporter, which also provides switching, and also is a supporter that I mean, it's searchable, right? It's a searchable gust. And then Team Rockets Ariana is fine. I mean, you can look at it next to Lilies, and it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's better or worse than Lilies. I guess I'd say it's like a little worse in the deck. Then obviously it's specific to this deck. So I guess it is searchable, so you could play less copies, but it's still going to be one of your main supporters, and that's pretty nice to have. And then Team Rockets Proton for turn 1 setup is nice. It is a setup piece that is in a supporter, so it doesn't get stopped by Badoo. But of course, then you're searching it off an item, which would get stopped there. Team Rockets Factory is also nice. Is it the best stadium in the game in terms of like value it gives? I don't know. Like, it might be. I mean, it allows you to draw some extra cards every single turn. It's a pretty good stadium. Some other decks can take advantage of it as well, running like Petal and stuff, but it is pretty good there. Ultimately, the deck is kind of cool. Again, more focused on that trainer package. It's not like super strong. I mean, Team Rockets Mewtwo EX does have high HP, but it doesn't have good. Like, it has okay damage. I guess you can one shot pretty much anything with Max Bell and all the energies, but it's a bunch of energies, so you're kind of relying on Team Rocket Spidops and stuff. But the deck's definitely kind of cool. If you haven't played it, try it out. I played it some. I'll probably play it a bit more. Definitely one of the more interesting decks in the game, and pretty good. Pretty, I'd say, fair as a deck, but it can do some good stuff as well. And then we have, like, obviously hand disruption on Team Rocket I mentioned was good. It means you don't have to play unfair stand, because you can get it consistently. It's just really nice there. Unlike unfair stand, which you'll see in other decks, which is good, but also obviously has the downside of not always working. Or being your A spec, you won't always have it. And then we look at the It's classified as Ogerpon Meganium, right? Yeah, which I'd say is a pretty fair description of it. Our Believe It EX is I'd say an overwhelmingly fair Pokemon. I kind of say it's bad, but it's not like bad. It's okay. It like snipes a single prizer, can like grab an extra prize in a Badoo as well, which is fine. Not going to complain about that too much, but it's not going to be for the fact that it's a whole stage 2 line. Yes, you have Force of Vitality, it's cheating to play, but it's a good chunk of cards. But it is like a nice option at times, though also it's not like some powerhouse. Teal Sugar Pontiacs can legitimately be a powerhouse paired with Meganium and be threatening some really big stuff. Obviously, this HP of 210, there are definitely decks that are kind of like able to hit that pretty easily, and that can be bad. You have like some versatility. It's kind of cool. With the Arboliva and the Ogerpon, and even Meganium, usually against like Crustle or something like that, but you're not going to have crazy versatility. Overall, I think the deck's fine. Team's Ogerpon EX plus Meganium can be very powerful with doubling the energies, so if you get the energies you need to take like a knockout on like Dragapult or something, is for 9, 10, 11. I think 4 energies is enough, which is 2 turns attaching and accelerating. So that I'm pretty sure is the math. I don't really play this deck too much, and I play against it some, but yeah, anyways, you're gonna be able to take big knockouts potentially, but it can be a little awkward as well. And then you have like Yoker Engine. You have some very good support pieces, but I'd say it's mostly built around those like powerful support pieces, like Teal Sugar Pontiacs giving you some extra draw, and you look at Bug Catching Set giving you some extra like setup, but you could definitely miss stuff as well. I've definitely seen that happen, but it's a pretty good deck. Kind of cool if you haven't. I imagine most of you have probably played it, but it's kind of cool. I have another grass deck. This is not what I was expecting. This is Festival Lead. Festival Lead here is doing, and I'm wondering how many decks I'm actually going to go down. I'll stop at Fedora Cynthia's, that's 5% there. But we see Festival Lead. This is definitely a deck I have not seen very much. I'm not going to lie. So if anyone has some insightful details on why this deck is doing super well, I'd love to hear that. We'll take a look a little more at the actual tournament results after, I guess, Bolt or whatever. But we see that Festival Lead is, obviously you got the powerful engine. Dipling can be very good. Brave Bangle plus Kieran. That's a knockout on Bolt, which is nice. We just do Rabsca. Rabsca is definitely an interesting card. Rabsca stops damage from effects of attacks. Is it damage? I think it's effects of attacks. Yeah. So it's stopping effects of attacks and damage done to your bench Pokemon. It is a stage 1 here. You need to get it up. We do also see Shaman. This is actually interesting seeing Shaman and Rabsca here. I don't know if decks are running multivariate may be, but definitely an interesting card there, Rabsca, one that I wouldn't say forgotten about. I played against it the other day, but definitely an interesting card there. And then you have that to obviously protect you. You can't be running Battle Cage because you need to be running Festival Grounds. It's definitely a deck that could do some pretty flashy stuff. I don't know if flashy is the right word, but you search so much. Thwacky is, in one sense, the best engine in the game. I mean, every single turn it searches for any card. It's a stage 1, and you can use multiple. It's better than Pidgeot EX. Of course, you need a Festival Lead Pokemon in the active, but you can do that, right? You have like the Seeking here. We don't see decks being like Seeking heavy, which used to be the case, which is kind of not so good in my opinion. And people aren't doing it as much because it's not as good. But yeah, definitely a fun deck. Definitely a deck that I don't think is a legitimately very good deck. Not like terrible, but I would not be. I'd probably be selling my stocks to the stack. Not that it's like flourishing like crazy, but I don't expect it to go up much. I suppose in some sense Dragapult will probably go down a little, but we'll see. Then we got what is it? Raging. Oh no, we have Cynthia's here. We're stopping before Bolt. Cynthia's here. Cynthia's is a cool deck, I guess. It's pretty linear as well. You have Cynthia's Garchomp EX. This Garchomp EX is a pretty mediocre attacker, but it's like all right, and then you can buff with Premium Power Pro, and then the Cynthia's Roserade line. Cynthia's Roserade is very powerful there. You have Cynthia's Spirit Tomb to allow you to take big knockouts on a single prizer. Of course, it does damage based on your damage counters on your bench Cynthia's Pokemon, which means that it will be doing and presumably based on one big Cynthia's Garchomp EX there, which is good. But then if your Cynthia's Garchomp EX gets knocked out, you're both down your actual attacker there. Or your main attack with Cynthia's Garchomp, as well as your Cynthia's Spirit Tomb can't really attack, so doesn't do any damage. So, yeah, keep that in mind. One thing I will mention as well, deck that's actually pretty nice. Obviously, Cynthia's Gabite being a pretty good engine setup piece there. But then on top of that, you also see the fact that the Cynthia's line is actually a decent attacking option. Or like honestly, like pretty much everything except for the wizard, which can attack there. Being these like early to mid game threats. So I say like mid game, I'm talking like turn 2, maybe turn 3. But I guess early game is what I should have said there. You're going to be looking at taking these like knockouts on a Badoo or a even like a Dreepy or something like that, maybe even like a Dracloak, with the help of the Cynthia's Roserades and maybe Premium Power Pro to take some early knockouts and gain some advantage. And then in the mid to late game, you're going to be relying on Corkscrew Dive, and then maybe very very late game you're using Draconic Buster. You could use it earlier as well to get a big knockout. But you need to be a little careful of energy, but you need to kind of understand that it's something that you're kind of playing with a bit slower there. And you don't manage acceleration in this deck, but it's a cool deck. I played it for a little while, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Interesting to see it above Mega Lucario. The other decks that are, we see the next decks and Rageable Ends and Mega Lucario and Alakazam as well. These are, I think, 4 decks that people thought were going to be pretty good, and they're certainly not terrible, but definitely interesting to see them a bit lower here. And we'll kind of dive into exactly the top placements. We get the Korean League. We see Terabox actually winning it here. We see Terabox. I haven't really played with Terabox. I'm not gonna lie, Post Station, and nor have a lot of people. I don't think I've played against this deck either. Maybe once. I don't even know. I'm definitely gonna try it out some. It's really cool. That honestly, Chip Pow is so sick. I guess I've actually not seen anyone. Tell me in the comment section. Has anyone either used or seen Shin Pow used to bump Air Zero Underdepths to like heal or like remove Pokemon from play? It seems so sick, but I have not actually done it or seen anyone do it. I've seen a bunch of talk about it and a bunch of decks playing the stuff to do it, but as I said, I haven't actually seen that. And then we also see, let's see, second and third place are Raging Bolt. So we see this list here. Quad Meowth, interesting there, allowing you to find your Crispins, and then also you can spin them with Chimpow. Chimpow lets you discard the stadium, then you can replay the stadium as well. So that allows you to have more bench space, and you shouldn't really have too much issue with bench space, I don't think, with the Meowth there. You will be using air as your underdepths to actually get that working, but it should be fine there. And yeah. And then we also see the third place list is, this one runs a Mega Lopunny. We see End's Plan, definitely a card I was not expecting to see, but can be useful for setting up some big stuff, I guess. Potentially some big Ogerpon stuff, maybe. I'm trying to think of what else I would set up, and it is a card that adds versatility, but I do feel like Energy Switch would probably be better a lot of the time. Maybe not. But anyways, we also see Unfair Stamp. Was that in the other list? Presumably. Unfair Stamp's very good. Presumably Terabox is not playing Unfair Stamp, I'm going to assume. Yep, it's running Crystal. But yeah, obviously Terabox though is really cool. So I definitely want to play this deck. I wish I had a little more insight, but obviously we got Ogerpon and Water Ogerpon specifically, as well as Lilies to really, I guess they're pretty different, but Lilies they're obviously against Dragapult and very good against Dragapult as well. Like some people are like, in terms of like kind of how it objectively price trades, it's kind of meh. It's not bad, but it's like, if you're looking for something crazy, it's kind of even. Then it's a lot easier to set up than Dragapult. And then Wilson Ogerpon EX targeting stuff early is really nice there. And then you have like a lot of more situational Pokemon there. But then we have Pult with Dustor here. As I'm going to talk a little bit more about Pult. I'll probably talk about that a bit more near the end. But yeah, you have Dragapult, Dustor here. We see a knockdown line, which is interesting. And then just some different cards. In terms of stadiums, it's definitely something I've been thinking about in Dragapult. You have Demarc's Watchtower, you have Risky Ruins. Risky Ruins is fine. It gets some extra damage cards on your opponent's side of the board. Potentially get some more on yours. Could use them with Monkey Dory. Of course, the reason you want to play a stadium is going to be for Battle Cage to stop Battle Cage stopping your damage cards being placed, which is like, it's somewhere between a bit of a pain and completely like debilitating. So definitely there are times where it's really important to bump there, and Risky Winds is like okay, but it's not very powerful. It generally doesn't do that much. It can do some stuff. There's one game where I was just getting cooked by Risky Ruins. I don't remember exactly why. but generally it's like okay. It is also, I will mention, something you can do turn one going first to punish your opponent for not playing Pokemon down turn one going second or before the game if they go second. So that is something. And then Demarcus Watchtower ability locking colorless Pokemon can be really nice there. You're also running colorless Pokemon, right? So is Demarcus Watchtower the play? I don't know, but it's definitely a pretty potentially good card. With you look at Meowth EX, you look at Knocked Out, you look at Mayhankscon EX, and I don't know if there's something else I'm missing there, but those are definitely three big ones. Dunsparce as well. There we go. So I think those are the four main ones, and those are all very good cards and cards that decks rely on definitely to some extent there. Then we look at the next tournament, the regional here. The winning list here, I'm going to look at, I think, top 8 here. So we see that it's Dragapult, Dunsparce. I played this list. Dunsparce fell kind of nothing. I'm not going to lie in the deck, but yeah, everyone's Dunsparce EX as well for something. Maybe it's for the first attack to just like take big knockouts on like Raging Bolt or something could definitely be kind of cool. I could see that being nice. It's a it's a decent card there. It's not an amazing card, but it's an all right card. And then we see Aetherless Mischief, kind of cool. We also see Hero Escape. Hero Escape felt kind of weird. This deck plays no hand disruption. I've played against this list a few times as well. I would not be shocked if I have. It's been a few days since this tournament, but yeah, definitely interesting with some of the choices here. We see 3 Crispin, obviously the energy is looking like Psychic and Fire, and then we also see the Darkness from Monkey Dory there, and yeah, overall pretty normal Dragapult stuff. Only one Badoo. I personally like I don't know. I don't love the Dunsparce, right? I'm not a Dunsparce fan, especially when you already have another engine. Like, I guess it could be useful in some situations, but it feels a little meh. But definitely some interesting decisions in this deck list. Then we have the next list, which is Crustle. I'll talk about the 2 Crustle lists here side by side. I kind of talked about Crustle already, but I'll take a look here if there's anything interesting to add. No. Okay, let's move on. We got Cynthia's. I assume nothing crazy here either. No. Oh, this one plays Layer Skill. I was playing this list. Layer Skill is kind of fun. It's not that good. And then, I mean, it's okay. Then we have Starmie Dustor. This is definitely not what I was expecting to see. Mega Starmie EX obviously doing some snipe damage, and then Dustor also doing, I guess, snipe damage is a way to describe it. Dustor is definitely interesting in this metagame. Obviously, you do still have Psyduck to stop it. There's not really anything you can do about that. And then also you have I'm not seeing that much Psyduck. I'll say and looking around at like lists and stuff, it's not that common, but that could be pretty bad. And then you see Monkey Dory here, but this isn't like Frostlass. This is Biggest Army, and you're just kind of like jetting, blowing, and getting some damage on your opponent's side of the board. We also see 2 copies of Condition Energy there to be able to use Nebula Beam for some bigger damage, allowing you to, I guess, with that, take knockouts on pretty much anything in the active there. So that's kind of cool there, I guess. Definitely a deck I wasn't expecting to see. It's kind of weird not running Mega Frostlass, in my opinion, because I feel like it would fit in pretty well. And honestly, Mega Frostlass plus the Dustor line, or I guess like Dusclops, is legitimately really powerful. But I guess in some sense, Nebula Beam plus Dustor like gets you there just as well. We do see 3 Risky Wounds as well, so that works with Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory plus Risky Wounds is okay. I talked about a little in Dragapult. It's going to be a little bit better here with you leaning a little more into it, I guess, but it doesn't feel like amazing here, in my opinion. But definitely an interesting deck. We see Legacy Energy as well as a pretty interesting ace pack again with pretty minimal hand disruption. You see Wild's Compassion, which is kind of cool. We were seeing these like situational defensive / healing supporters in some of these decks, like Aetherless Mischief than Wild's Compassion as well. Obviously a bit of a better card than Aetherless Mischief, I'd say, but yeah, definitely kind of interesting, but in terms of like, I don't know, it's just not what I was expecting. But I do feel like, you look at other decks running Dustor, other decks running Biggest Starmie, and this is an interesting combo. This is the choice the route they decided to go down. Then we look at the next list, which is a straight Dragapult list. This one runs Chien-Pao, Air Zero Underdepths. Air Zero Underdepths is interesting in the deck. Obviously, it lets you expand your bench for more bench space there, which can be useful. On top of that, it also allows you to shrink your bench when you lose the stadium and then clear some Pokemon out, which is pretty nice, letting you essentially heal or remove some liabilities. So that's kind of cool there. It is a good chunk of pieces. I guess it's not that many pieces, but it's some amount of commitment there. So it's just a little interesting. We also see 3 candy in this list, not even like a decimal list here, but 3 candy interesting. Just kind of need to hit it. Obviously, you can't really search it. You cannot search for in this list. But yeah, definitely. Obviously, candy is plus Crispin plus obviously just like you're looking at a potential turn 2 Dragapult, which is pretty good, right? If you get a turn 2 Dragapult, what exactly is your opponent going to be able to do about it? Probably not much, right? So just definitely something I mean, maybe they could do something about it, I guess, with lilies. But assuming they don't have like lilies or something, then you could really apply a lot of really powerful early pressure. So definitely something to just kind of look at here. Something that can be pretty good. Then we see we also see Blood Moon as well. Blood Moon is like in some of these decks, but it's not in all of the decks. And then then the next list is going to be Bolt. I can't imagine there's anything that super interesting compared to the other Bolt. It runs a Passimian. It runs some kind of cool stuff. Runs the Water Ogerpon, so interesting. 0-6, I think 0-6 is not good. But 0-6 admittedly is like okay against Alexam. It's like I mean, it's good, right? It's good. Are there other cards you could play against Alakazam? Yes, but 0-6 is, or like 0-6 is going to be the best option there. The question is, is it the best option, right? That like in general, obviously against Alakazam it's pretty good, but against non-Alakazam it doesn't do too much. But anyways, then we have the next deck, which is Crustle. Wait, I looked at that list already. So then we got Bolt Blaziken. Bolt Blaziken is kind of interesting here, with being able to use Blaziken to actually set up a bit better there, and then also you're going to have that as an attacking option, hitting some different weaknesses, and being hit for a different weakness. Obviously, Dragapult normally doesn't get hit for weakness, except let's be honest, it does. It gets hit for a psychic weakness. We even see Liz Clefairy EX here, and allows you to use Blaziken. Or I mean, sorry, Blaziken allows you to use Monkey Dory a bit easier. Ultimately, all in all, I'd say it's kind of cool. I've played a little bit of Blaziken, Dragapult. I definitely think it is a decent way to play the deck. Is it the best way to play the deck? I don't know. I'm not sure what the best way is to play it currently, but there are definitely some really nice things you can do with this deck. But also Blaziken at times is just going to be kind of doing not that much, right? Because Blaziken is ultimately a card that is a worse attacker than Dragapult, and it provides some energy acceleration, but it's not like crazy in terms of energy acceleration, especially for the amount of commitment it takes, being a whole stage 2 there. So yeah, definitely something you want to just think about this deck, right? It's definitely a interesting deck, but definitely a deck that is fine. I'd say it's a fine deck. I wouldn't say it's like super crazy dominant. I love to hear people's thoughts on which they think the best build of Dragapult is. I think we looked at all the. I don't think we actually looked at all the builds. We didn't look at Dustor there, but I definitely think there is some cool stuff with Dragapult as well. I think people are like kind of sick of Dragapult. Okay, people are kind of sick of Dragapult, but definitely it has some different builds to it that are cool. I think it's like interesting to explore different builds there. But anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section on like tournament results here. And yeah, I mean, we can see like the difference between this and the Japanese metagame. It's somewhat different. It's not like drastically different. This was a little while ago. So, but I'd love to hear all your thoughts. And also, huge shout out to all my YouTube members for supporting me. It really, really does help. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.